what are some of the challenges, in
Mm,
this long career that you kind of have either seen carried through or maybe new challenges also that you
mhm.
see coming up?
Well, I think, there's so many challenges that we're still kind of muddling through as a result of COVID. Still trying to muddle through how people work. They've
Yeah.
returned to work, but they're working differently
Yeah.
and not in the ways that we perhaps were used to. You have more remote workers, you have um, workers who have more family and lifestyle needs that need to be addressed. And
Yeah.
so you have to be much more flexible. Certainly, expenses have skyrocketed across the board. So
Yeah.
whether it is people forget that nonprofits pay the light bill. We pay
Yeah.
phone bills. We have to pay for facilities and properties and leases, and if you have vehicles, you have to pay for all of those things. You still have to pay for, and all of those costs have gone up exponentially. So it is that managing those administrative dollars, keeping your admin low. That's the other thing that runs me crazy when you are seeking funding from another entity or a grant, it's almost as if they expect your entire organization to run via volunteers and air
Yeah.
because they want your administrative administration to be 12%. Who does that? Who can survive? You
Well,
know,
no successful business, like a for-profit, would ever be asked to run a margin like that, right?
Exactly, exactly. And you can't.
Yeah.
And so, some have kind of moved away from that. Others are looking at it differently, but it's still a struggle, paying, we pay benefits. Most
Yeah.
of my employees are full-time employees with benefits. And, the health insurance is astronomical.
Yeah.
And so and we pay the majority of their health insurance. So trying to maintain that and also make sure that you have enough money to operate all of your facilities and then pass it through to your mission services so that you can actually do and perform and be successful at your mission. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's always been a struggle, but it's more of a struggle now than it's ever been.
Agreed. And I think, I'm at least, again, through some of these hive chats, being in touch with people like yourself, reading and immersing myself in the space so frequently, attrition goes up, people leave jobs for many reasons, but, nonprofit does seem to have a higher attrition rate right now than it maybe did 10, 15 years ago. And then attrition goes up and impact goes down. Like they're so tied closely
Yeah.
together, and I think often, boards and donors probably both need to be educated about that connection. If all of a sudden you have a 40% vacancy rate at your nonprofit, well, you should expect to do at least 40% less impact. It's just there, you can't not have
Yeah.
those two tied together.
It still takes warm bodies to do
Yes.
a lot of the work that we do. Nonprofits are still doing a lot of that work one on one, face to face,
Yeah.
touching hands, touching lives. And and that's a huge issue because there are so many jobs that we do that you have to have a certification to do, and not mandated by us, but mandated by the state or the entity that we're working with. And so certain jobs they have to have a degree, certain jobs they have to have a certification. So that means you have to pay more for
Absolutely.
those things, or they're harder to find. And it just becomes, and so if you're not able to serve that population because of attrition, you're not going to get those referrals,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's so true. I had a hilarious conversation, well, hilariously sad conversation
Yeah.
where my sister was shocked to find out people went to school for fundraising. And I'm like, people have master's degrees in this subject, right? And years of experience. And I think there's the, general population disconnect from understanding that people who work in nonprofit are often very, very well educated
Right.
individuals who have not only given of their time to get the education they require to improve on the impact at the end of the day, but have also given up opportunities to choose to do this work.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's for sure the overhead conversation always gets me a little itchy. And, but it needs to be talked about because, like you noted, it's a huge challenge
Yeah.
to do
Well,
great.
and nonprofits are highly regulated, and some people don't realize that. Our 990s are open to the public,
Yeah.
and your sister probably would not appreciate everybody knowing what she makes.
Yeah. True.
But
She
yeah,
probably wouldn't. And again, that's just something she doesn't know anything
yeah,
about, right?
yeah. Most
Uh,
people don't.
yeah. Yeah. And she's like, someone is fundraised for the Humane Society and fundraise for this. Like, she believes in a lot of these things. She just, it's the question mark of people giving up something to do the work. I think just it should probably shouldn't be a conversation, or it should be an in the past conversation. We clearly need to talk about it right now, but it feels like it should be something
Yeah,
from the past that we let
yeah.
go. Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.